All right, Andy, we're here.
I don't know how long we're going on.
Oh, good. How do you want us to sit for the GoPro? How's it angled here? Okay.
15 minutes? 15 minutes? How long are we going for? Did you say 10 minutes? What'd you say, 5 minutes?
What are we going for, Andy?
Nope, we can't do that.
Oh, 3 minutes. What time? Okay, here it is. This is the stuff I'm trying to find out. So the gates open at 8:30 tomorrow?
Who knows?
With t- Welcome to Blue Jackets Training Camp presented by OhioHealth. I'm Bob McElligott alongside of Jody Shelley here in the OhioHealth Ice House, which is connected to Nationwide Arena. The Blue Jackets getting things underway today. Not a very exciting day, well, not for the players because it's a hard work day, but there's no scrimmages, there's nothing like that. It's all testing, but it all starts with the physical testing in camp.
Yeah, it's the opposite of exciting for the players. It's just a grueling part of this camp. Yesterday was the 2-mile run, which I heard it's just miserable, and then compound that into a day on ice that the group that we're looking at now just cannot wait to get this over with. So it's 6 sets of 3 laps around the ice. You can see the yellow line, so it's an equal distance. Torts has that yellow rope between both nets, which makes sure it's fair for everyone. There's 3 groups. Now, last year it was 8 times 3 laps, so he's backed off a little bit, 6 times 3 laps. But the excitement, Bob, is because now the 2018-2019 Blue Jackets season, the NHL season, is underway, and camp is officially open. And when you put the skates on as a player, you're getting a little closer to hockey. Now, tomorrow they're excited to see pucks. They haven't seen pucks since camp opened, so that'll be nice. It'll still be tough, but this is one day they want to get behind him.
You talked about the fact that he's backed off a little bit on this particular exercise. What is, it used to be in the day that guys would get done playing and they'd go home for the summer, and it wasn't the constant workout like it is now. I mean, guys do skate throughout the course of the summer. What is this test meant to show?
Well, it's interesting. Yesterday's run test is 2 miles, which is 8 laps around the track. So once you get to that second lap, in your mind, you're thinking, how am I going to finish 6 more laps? And so it's really a mental test to let yourself realize that, A, I can't quit because everybody's there. The coaches are in the middle of the track. The assistant coaches, the director of scouting, the scouts, they're all watching you. So you have to gut it out. You have to get it done. You have to complete the 8 laps. So that's the first part about that. And then today, he's backed off, but I just spoke to Nick Foligno, and he's walking out the door. He had a bounce in his step. He said his legs are completely toast. He said they were toast yesterday after the 8-lap 2-mile run, and he's a good runner. He looks like he's in unbelievable shape. He's thrilled to be done. He said, but this was miserable. He said this was yesterday's run test. He said just multiplied by, he didn't even say how many, but it was dreadful. He said the 3 laps, it's nice to have those 2 knocked off, not 8 times 3 laps, 6 times 3 laps this year, because once you get to the third one, you know you're halfway done, not 5 left to do. So mentally it's good. He said still, you can see John Tortorella's out there watching, Brad Larson, Brad Shaw, Kenny McCutton, all the coaching staff is out there. And for the young guys, some of these guys, it's a first impression. Some of these guys, it's an impression of your work on the summer. And the veterans, Bob, I'm just going to answer. I answered the long way, but I'm going to tell you what it's a mental test. Will you quit? Do you have did you train hard enough this summer physically so that mentally you can keep that mind going to get this thing done?
And that's what John Tortorella talked about a couple nights ago. We had an event here at Nationwide Arena, and he expressed the 2-mile run. The reason that he brought that into his training camp routine was because he said, look, I know that running is not good for hockey players. He said, but, there's a time that we felt that we had to give them some kind of a focus over the summer, and they had to be ready for something. So it was back when he first started doing it years ago, it was a target for the players to make sure that they knew they had to be in shape to run that 2 miles in 12 minutes when they came into training camp. And he felt at that time that it gave them something over the summer. If they felt like taking a day off, they said, hey, listen, I've got to be ready for this run when I show up that day. So it was kind of incentive, and now he's just kept that in there throughout. And you know what? I guess it's still a pretty good incentive, to be quite honest with you.
I'm just going to tell you that these 2 days have hung over these players' head since the day they left here last April. And, okay, maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe they started in May. Maybe it was like May 21st, okay? They started thinking about the run. They started thinking about the skate test, which they're doing right now. And August is the worst month for a professional hockey player because, you know what? You see the tennis open coming on, and that, that shows you that, hockey training camp's right around the corner. You see that the baseball pennant race, you see it's kind of shaking itself out. Those guys are getting ready for their postseason run. You see that the Buckeyes and football is starting in Columbus and around the nation. College football, NFL starting their games. It's a bad time of year not because of hockey, but because of yesterday's run test, which, as you said, Torts knows is not good for players. But you're going to be an athlete. You got to be able to run. If it's not something that you're used to doing, guess what? You better get used to it, get your body ready to do it because it's the mental part of it. And then right here. This has been hanging over their heads. That's why when I said I spoke with Nick Foligno a couple minutes ago as he was leaving when this was behind him, this has been that assignment. This has been that project. This has been that meeting, that deadline that you've been getting ready for, preparing for. This has now gotten behind. These guys are in the middle of it. Right now, the way these guys are feeling in their legs, they're zoning out. There you can see Dubois, Nudavara, just zoning out. Just keep keep those legs pumping. You can see Cam. He's got, he's a strong guy. He's stout. He's a guy with strong legs. You can see he's a veteran guy. He's just getting through this right now. I tell you, we wouldn't want to be out there. We'd be done already.
Right.
They'd have the
halftime around
the squad out there.
And as you look at these players, and you've been watching them go around, you see the mix of veterans and young players. Some of these guys just coming back from Traverse City, where they won a championship in the rookie tournament just a couple of days ago. Great experience for them and good for the organization. They get back in here, and now the real work begins. But some are going to get a real look in this camp. Some earned somewhat of a look in this camp by the way that they played last week in Traverse City.
Well, and there's a depth chart here with the Blue Jackets. Let's start with the veterans. The center ice position. It was Dubois, Wenberg, Dubinsky in game 82 he gave himself that game, which really got him into game 1 against the Washington Capitals, the way he played against Nashville when everyone was scratched. And he got in and he got to play that role that he loves to do. And then there's the rookies. There's the young guys who are going to come in here and they're going to have an opportunity to either A, make an impression to be on that team, B, make a first impression. And there's Robinson. He made a great first impression last season in Nashville, got to play his first National Hockey League game, be around the Blue Jackets.
He was thinking it was a lot easier than what I'm doing right now.
Wait, I say he's a veteran. I mean, he did get a taste. He didn't get this kind of a taste of the NHL. You could tell right there how tough this is. But he's a great skater, too. I mean, this is one thing for great skaters. How about guys that can't skate like me? I wouldn't be able to, and you. I mean, you can skate a little bit, but I know it's harder. Everything is some guys have got that natural ability, and in these tests you think, wow, it must be so easy for these guys. But a guy like Robinson, you can see right there, legs were pretty tight at the end of it. But no, the impression thing, I think there's guys like Stenlund. You can see he's going around the back of the net right there. He's one of the players that did a good job up in Traverse City, so he might come to mind when you think of an opportunity here. But all these guys are coming in with high hopes, either to make a team or make an impression so that, A, they can play in the American Hockey League and maybe be that first call-up, or B, stick around camp as long as you can, because as the numbers dwindle down, those are the guys that we're going to see from quickly.
You're right, because it's human nature. If you have a good camp, if you make an impression in somebody's mind, and you get sent to Cleveland, and you're playing in the American Hockey League, when something happens here, if you're a coach and you need to fill a hole, the first thing you're going to think of is, hey, you know what, that kid had a good camp, and they would be following him on a regular basis, I know, but maybe you make that call and you say, is he playing anywhere close to the way that he performed in the preseason games during training camp? And if the answer is yes, you're going to get a chance.
Yeah, I mean, and the first impression is so important, so it's starting right here where there's Atkinson. I mean, he's pushing it through. Good job by Cam. I'm just amazed at how close.
Have you ever seen him do that? I mean, we're so used to seeing Cam going 100 miles an hour every time he's on the ice. That picture alone tells you, look at David Savard is, just getting
all
through
the way through the last Torch is standing right on the red line, by the way. And what he's watching for is to make sure that on their third lap, they skate all the way through the finish. And that's what we saw with Cam there. So they're probably on their fourth set here. They've got a couple left. But at the end of this lap, here goes Gerby. He's got to keep his legs moving all the way through the end of the red line. So here's the worst part. He's coming around the end of that net right here. There. He had to get all the way to that blue line. And that's what he's watching. Torch is watching to see who's trying to cut corners, who's having a tough time, and who's not going all the way through the end of the test. And so,
and when
fun.
You talked about this being mental and a mental test, John Tortorella is the master of the mental test. How far can I push you? What will you do for your team, for your organization, for me, quite frankly?
But the interesting part about that is, if you're not prepared physically, you cannot make it a mental test, because physically you can't get it done. Your legs are just like cramped up, and they feel like your muscles are snapping off the bone. So if you're not prepared, if you didn't do the work, you're not getting to this point in the test. Like if we put the skates on right now, I'm telling you, I know I said it 3 sets ago, there would be no physical or mental test for us, because physically, our body just wouldn't allow us to do it. So these guys are prepared for it. There's Torts.
Yep, and there you saw him watching intently as they come by, and making sure that they get through that final line. So, as you said, no pucks out here today. There will be pucks out here tomorrow. Torts has said that these first 3 days on ice are going to be very grueling days, and this is just the beginning of it. The scrimmages they'll play tomorrow will be another part of it. And then the unfortunate part in some ways is there's going to be a group of players that go through all of this in these 3 days, and they've got to play a game on Monday. And there's another group that's got to play a game on Tuesday.
Do you recall the game last year, game number 1 for the Blue Jackets?
Probably.
They looked a little sluggish, and for good reason.
Yes.
But that's a great point that you bring up. There's cold tubs back in the locker room. There's bikes you can get on and spin your legs to try to get the lactic acid out. But the practices, listen, the individual testing, this is on the player. This is no skill. This is your training and your mental toughness. Tomorrow, you got to do this kind of stuff, not just skating laps, but Torch disguises how hard the testing or the practices are with high volume and reps and not a lot of rest time. There's not a lot of guys in each group. I don't know the number. There might be 9 forwards in each roster, something like that. So when you get back in line after doing a hard drill with the puck trying to score, you get back in line, then you got to go again. So all these things, there's a formula to his first. It's really his first 4 days of camp. So these guys will practice tomorrow, and they can't wait until the first preseason game is played, and hopefully they'll be on the roster, because then it means they can cut back on some of the work they got to do.
And let's talk about some of the guys. You're looking at Adam Clendenning right here, who is coming around the net. Clendenning, one of a number of veteran defensemen that have been signed to 2-way contracts, could play in Cleveland, could play here in Columbus. as the Blue Jackets try to add some depth there. They lost some big pieces, let's be honest. Jack Johnson moves on to Pittsburgh. Ian Cole moves on to Colorado. Yes, there are guys that they envision going into those spots. You still have Seth Jones, Zach Werenski is coming back from an injury, but is hopefully going to be ready to go at the start of the season. David Savard's a mainstay. Ryan Murray, much better last year, especially in the playoffs. Marcus Nudavara, who we mentioned. Then there's that one spot. Scott Harrington's on a one-way. Dean Kukan's on a one-way. But these guys, like Adam Clendenning, are going to be important players, too, in the minors, as we said, in the event of a call-up because of an injury. Or if you simply outplay somebody in training camp, and they're guys that have been around professional hockey and have had taste of the NHL.
Yeah, and Clendenning is a player that has some NHL experience. He's a guy that's coming here trying to make that opportunity work. And, he's at a good part of his career where he's not an older guy, but he's a guy that's got a little experience here. So, and then the guy like Nudavara, who we see out there now, he's a guy that's been looked to now with a long-term contract, a one-way deal. They see promise in Nudavara, so he's a player that could he still wants to make that impression. So I remember our first day at camp in San Jose. We did testing the first day with physicals, and then the next day, the first day on ice, was systems. It was great. I mean, systems and power play. So systems was, systems, it's pretty easy stuff. They're trying to teach that new system. And there are camps that have opened today, first day on ice, that are doing that. I just saw a tweet from the Oilers where they're in the huddle and, they're going over systems. So the priority for Torts and his staff is the first 2 days is going to be this. This is the mental test. And we said it last year. We said it the year before. At the end of this camp, let's say that after the first off day, which I think is Wednesday of next week,
yes,
there's an off day, which there'll be cuts. Guess what? Camp then changes. Then it gets into teaching and systems for John Tortorella and his crew. And he believes, and I believe him last year and I believed him the year before, there is a sense of accomplishment with his group when all this is said and done. At the time, you know what? It's miserable. But you talk to these players next Wednesday or Thursday, because we won't be able to talk to them Wednesday. It's an off day. And they will be saying, you know what? I'm glad we went through it. We got through it as a group. Did you see so-and-so get it done? That was impressive. There's just a real sense of bringing the group together, galvanizing right away. So I think it's a smart move. It's easy to say from up here, watching these guys do it. But at the end of the day, let's see what they say next Thursday.
Well, you see, again, it continues here on the Ice House surface as the players
Great
go
camera
around.
work, huh? These guys are doing a heck of a job.
I know. Day one.
Day
one, right
they
out of
must
the
have been
chute.
working all summer.
But some other guys, let's see, we've seen Pierre-Luc Dubois a couple of times go around here. This is now his third camp. I remember his first one. Not many do, because he didn't stand out the way the Blue Jackets had hoped that he would. Well, they knew that he would probably have to go back to junior, but he was the third overall pick. Didn't stand out as much as they thought that he would. Last year came in here, took the camp by storm, and before the season was over, he took everything by storm. John Tortorella has said numerous times this week, we would not have been in the playoffs had it not been for the emergence of Pierre-Luc Dubois. Now he has the all-important second go-around here. And, in sports, they like to talk about a sophomore jinx. Can you do it a second time? You look at Dubois when he's going through the drills out here today. It looks as though, I think he can do it again. I love his demeanor. I loved what he did last year and how he went through it, and he just took everything in stride. And obviously he comes in here with a lot of talk. You mentioned the centers earlier. Alexander Wenberg. Is he going to want to regain those minutes as a top-line centerman on this team? Can he do that? Brandon Dubinsky is looking to bounce back. Riley Nash was added as a free agent during the summertime, so he's going to vie for a spot. We haven't even talked about Lucas Sedlak, who was a fourth-line center here last year until he got hurt. So there are 5 guys that are vying for 4 spots down the middle, and then it's where you're going to be in the lineup. I don't see Pierre-Luc Dubois looking to relinquish the role he had last year.
Well, no, and what a difference. 1 year ago at the open of camp, Pierre-Luc Dubois was on a wing on the 5th line, a winger on the 5th line. Cam Atkinson was slotted with Wenberg and Panarin on the top. Who was going to play with Artemi Panarin? Who was going to be in that position? So it took quite a part of the season to figure out where guys slotted in, as these guys are now done this section of the test. And it turned out that Panarin and Atkinson created that chemistry with the young Pierre-Luc Dubois. So good on him to come in. The thing I like about Dubois, his dad played professional hockey. His dad coaches professional hockey. There's just something to be said for that. There's a confidence that comes from being prepared and knowing you're prepared, but there's also a confidence and there's be some advice coming his way, from his dad, from people his dad knows, from Coach Tortorella, from his coaching staff. He's a smart kid. He's a confident kid. He appreciates the time. I know 2 years ago he went and did a number of different things at the end of the season. This year he went to the World Championships in Denmark. He represented Team Canada. He was around Connor McDavid, players like that. So there's been a lot of good experiences, but at the end of the day, he's a veteran guy that comes back here looking to hold a spot. And he's a guy, if you watch him in playoffs last year, he was getting frustrated with some of his game. He expects a lot out of himself, like anyone at this level does. So he's got a huge opportunity. He knows it, but I don't think he takes himself too serious where he's going to worry about it. He's going to just take care of business, and I think that's a good thing for him.
All right, so they've taken off the yellow rope, as you saw. And what's up next? Torts is
Torts wants to
we
be
saw
on
us
TV.
sitting up here the whole time. I think he thought we were just sitting here doing absolutely nothing until just a moment ago. So what are they going
What
into?
are you guys doing up there?
What are they going into now here, Jody?
I have no idea. Is it another skating test?
I don't know. Or is this just the wind down phase here? So we'll wait and see. But anyway, we mentioned tomorrow, the scrimmages start tomorrow. This place it's very quiet here right now. But that will not be the case tomorrow morning. It will be packed here in the OhioHealth Ice House tomorrow morning with the first scrimmage getting underway at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. The gates will open at 8:30 tomorrow, and there will be T-shirts for those in attendance tomorrow.
Long sleevers,
well.
right?
I don't know.
I think so.
Long
They
sleevers
were last year.
All right, well.
Wouldn't need it today.
No, not outside today.
No, not
Earlier in the
outside
week,
today.
you would have needed it outside. You'll need it outside a little bit later on, but
OhioHealth is, again, a big part of training camp. They're always a great supporter of the Columbus Blue Jackets and the OhioHealth Ice House, and they have stepped up to sponsor training camp. The opening of camp tomorrow. Nice reception. There'll be a breakfast here for some of the sponsors, I believe, and then the fans are welcome in. As you said, the free shirt. And you'll see these guys that actually play a little hockey, which I know there's a good buzz around the city about this team.
Yeah, there is. And as a player, and this place used to be packed when you would come in here at the start of training camp, too, because people look forward to it.
Well, yeah, the fights. Everyone wanted to come and see the fight.
No, but back then, yeah. But I'm just saying it's training camp. You're playing a scrimmage game against your buddies, but yet it's packed full of people in here. What's that like as a player? That's
awesome.
what I'm asking.
Really awesome because, as a player, I used to come in here, and to tell you the truth, Bob, and I had no friends. I didn't really talk to anybody. I remember I fought Jamie Pusher early in camp, a veteran guy. He's like, "What are you doing, buddy?" And I'm like, "Let's go." So, we laugh about it now, but I was looking to make that impression, and that's how I had to do it. So they brought in 4 or 5 tough guys, and I'd fight a few of them, and then I got to find my way to stick around. But having the fans here, it's just amazing to feed off the energy and the excitement that the fans have in Columbus about their team. And they're great fans. They know. You're not kidding the fans. They know what's happening. And I used to love to watch those scrimmages, but now that it's not scrimmages, it's practices and different things. So.
Oh, look at this. They brought.
I'm going to put it on.
They brought the shirt here. Which camera are we going to go to here? There it is. These are the shirts that will be given away tomorrow. I'm not doing a good job of that.
Here, I'll help you.
There you go. Perfect. Look at that. The OhioHealth shirts that will be given away here tomorrow for the scrimmages at the OhioHealth Ice House. Yes, long sleeve and nice material there too.
It's soft.
Yeah,
it's nice.
It is. Turn into a fashion show before
give them health.
Give them health. Hashtag give them health.
Right.
So there you go. So again, day 1 of training camp.
Here you go.
On ice.
For you, free.
That's very nice of you. A giving mood here in day 1. So day 1 on ice here.
Test.
What's that? What's this going on?
I don't know, but I don't think we should break it down. You? I think it's line back, cone back, line back. Something like that.
Well, there's your breakdown. What else do you need to know?
It's energy. It's another part of the test. Oh, you don't want it? Oh. I was giving the shirt back.
Yeah, well.
No, it's good. So, yeah, tomorrow, excitement here at OhioHealth. Make sure you're here to watch.
Yep, and that'll go on tomorrow morning, bright and early. You can get things started. I know tomorrow's a busy sports day, and so later in the afternoon you can shift gears and do something else. But in the morning, it's all hockey all the time, and it will be lots of fun. These guys will still have some energy left tomorrow when they come out to play in these scrimmage games.
Well, this is not – so they're not this is a good call, too. In camp early, stops and starts. You want to ease into that. So they're allowing the guys here, as I break down this skating test, they're allowing the guys not to stop. So that's my observation is no stops and starts. The lap test, all right, test your mental toughness and your physique. And then this is up and back, which is not easy. And you hate to have a guy leading the rush, but you're skating with Atkinson and Savard there. So they're not making them stop, just a nice little turn at the end. I like this group. They're sticking together. Nice group, right? No heroes in the group. Just kind of ride it out together.
It's like synchronized skating.
Yeah,
right there,
it is. It's like you don't have to talk about it. But if the guy wants to be a hero, he gets a slash in the back of the legs. That's how it used to be.
So David Savard should be on the ice right now.
Two hands right across the ankles right there. Nudavara didn't even think about it.
No, he's
maybe it was just for the slow meatheads like myself.
And Dubois could be the hero in this group.
He is. Look.
Well, there he is.
There he
goes.
goes.
He
broke away at the end. But
yeah.
Nice of him on the turn. Just take it easy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
There goes David again.
Yeah, he's
just a workhorse.
I'll tell you this. That's consistency for David
No
Savard.
ankles.
He says, look, I'm not skating with you guys throughout this thing.
If I'm Cam, I just get up there and hack him.
You know what David's probably saying?
David, get back here.
He's saying,
like right now, I'm like, David, what are you doing?
He's saying, I'm getting this over with as quickly as I can.
No, she's showing off.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. We love David. He's doing a great job.
That is how camp has changed.
That's just how strong he is. Okay, you think? Yeah, I'm going again. This does not look fun.
The guys sitting on the bench are watching this knowing that their turn is coming.
Trying to get any inside edge. I remember David Ling used to – you'd go to look at all the tests. So there was a ladder test for speed. There was one – you had to throw a ball for power. He would not do that test until about 15 guys went through the ladder test. Then he found some way to find an edge to do it better or quicker, more efficiently. And that's just a good veteran, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
So the guys on the boards are watching. Okay, should we turn at the line? Anyways, we're breaking this down now. We're getting carried away.
Yeah. You said you weren't going to break it down, but you've broken it down
masterfully
before it's all said and done. Just for the record.
Now this group's see how they're all together? That's a good group right there. Get that?
And that is and that's their last go.
No
around.
Slashes in that group.
So maybe some words for David Savard later on. Who knows?
No, he's fine.
All right, so that the testing continues here at Nationwide Arena for a while yet today, and as we said, tomorrow the gates open at 8:30. The doors open at 8:30 at the OhioHealth Ice House tomorrow. T-shirts.
What is the schedule Sunday?
See, now you're putting me on the spot here.
Well, I just had one tweet today from Ryan Lafferty. A lot of action on Twitter, so the one Twitter question, what's the schedule for Sunday?
What is the schedule for Sunday? Well, let's
we're going to tell you
here.
right now,
yep.
Ryan.
Let's see. Sunday starts again at 9 o'clock. And
same.
Right. And, oh, by the way.
Is it open?
I should have pointed this out, and I forgot to because I'm so used to just being here. There is a concert in Nationwide Arena today, so everything takes place here in the Ice House. But tomorrow there will be, tomorrow and Sunday, there will be skating on both the Ice House rink and over in the main rink at Nationwide Arena. This weekend, all of that is open to the public. Normally during training camp, the OhioHealth Ice House sessions are open to the public, and the main ice is closed to the public, but this weekend everything is open. You'll be able to go from one rink to the other rink.
Oh, it's opening Sunday?
Watch what's going
nationwide?
on.
They're
Right.
skating
So
nationwide?
9 o'clock on Sunday morning, there will be a two-team scrimmage on the main ice in Nationwide Arena. starting at 9 o'clock, going from 9 to 10 on Sunday morning. So that's what gets going. Tomorrow from 9 to 10. Tomorrow from 9 to 10, it's going to be right here in the Ice House. Then 1 to 2, there will be a scrimmage on the main ice over at Nationwide Arena. So just to give you a little perspective, this weekend, come and go between the two rinks and be able to watch whoever and whatever you want to watch over the course of the next 2 days. How's
awesome.
that?
That's great. Right? And two great buildings. So.
Absolutely. So that's going to do it for our opening for you. The opening of our season, the opening of your season, most importantly, the opening of their season. The Columbus Blue Jackets training camp getting underway here at the OhioHealth Ice House and Nationwide Arena this weekend. Any final thoughts?
Nope.
All right.
Let's play hockey.
All right. That's a great final thought. And tomorrow morning, we'll be streaming the scrimmage game for you, 9 o'clock. If you can't make it out here to the OhioHealth Ice House, Jeff Rimmer, Bill Davich will be here, and we'll bring you the live stream of the scrimmage. That's tomorrow. So until then, for Jody Shelley, I'm Bob McElligott. Thanks for watching Jackets TV, presented by OhioHealth.